everybody, this is Lisa, and I want to welcome you to The Search. Please hit the subscribe button and notification. That helps us let you know when we're on, and also it helps us grow in helping to get these cases out, and hopefully it reaches someone that can possibly help us get one step closer to justice. We upload every Thursday night at 8 p.m. with a new episode. Please don't forget to share. At the end, I will leave all the information in the description of what you may need to contact. And if there's anything in there that you need, please leave a comment and I will be sure to try to get as much as I can to you. I want to get into it tonight. This is a case of two victims. So I want to tell you where this first takes place at, and it is in Hot Springs, Arkansas. If you are familiar with Little Rock, it's about 55 miles outside, about southwest of Little Rock, so about a little less than an hour. It's actually a pretty well-known place for tourists. You can go to the mountains, hike the thermal springs. It's hot springs, so yeah, it attracts a lot of people there, in and out. When we have cases like this, is that a good thing or a bad thing? You know, we'll never know, right? We don't know. I want to also talk to you now about our victims. Before I tell the story, I always like to share with you our victims on a personal level, who they are, break that wall down of victim and just living and what type of life they led. So that's what I like to always do when I'm discussing a case. Tonight, we are talking about Shaquilla Watts and her son, Za'vion Watts. At the time of the incident, it was December 29th, 2020. So at that time, she was 21 years old and Za'vion was 5. Yeah, pretty hard to swallow. But before we go any further, let's talk about who Shaquilla Watts is. So the family says this about her. Behind her captivating smile is the story of an amazing, beautiful young mother, daughter, sister, friend, and a woman who inspired to help others to be the best they could become. Shaquilla Shanae Watts was born April 9th, 1999 in Hot Springs, Arkansas, to Leather Ann Watts, and raised by Billy and Bobby Lynn Evans. December 29th, 2020, the smile that captivated our hearts now radiates with the angels and sits at the far right hand of our Father. Shaquilla grew up in a Christian home, knowing the importance of God, family, and school. She was educated in the Hot Springs School District, where she excelled in her studies and was a 2017 graduate of Hot Springs World Class High School. Her ambition was to become a registered nurse. However, before she would attend nursing school, she would be put all her energies into Za'vion, who people called her actually her twin. They had so many same characteristics, looks, everything. Was born December 2nd, 2015, and was the absolute love of her life. Before I go on, I want to tell you. See, he was born in 2015. She didn't graduate till 2017. She was 16 years old when she had Za'vion. You know what? Some people would have maybe not had the support, not had the will to do what she did at such a young age. But it grounded her. It said, no, I have something to do. I have to be the best mother and raise the best little gentleman I can raise. Like I said, she was in a family of God, a house where they recognized being a Christian is number one. So she knew she had a job to do. And it sounds like she did it really well. So even having a child at 16, she did go on to graduate. If she wasn't working, all of her time was spent with her son. And family members said she loved her son dearly and dedicated her life to making sure that his needs were met. She made sure he was mannerable, respectable, good, and he used the skills she taught him appropriately towards adults and his peers, saying, "Yes, ma'am, thank you, no, ma'am." She wanted him to be the best he could be. She often said he was her best friend. They loved taking selfies, hugging, kissing. See, Shaquilla was a loving, caring, giving, thoughtful, compassionate, kind, and selfless, to name a few things. These characteristics made Shaquilla the young woman she had become and why she wanted to be a nurse. She was currently employed at Right Home Healthcare as a certified nursing assistant, CNA, and was in the process of pursuing her nursing degree. See, she was going to be an RN. She had goals, she had dreams. She also loved her family, friends, and chicken wings. Yes. I love that they say that about her. It really lets you know what type of person, as much as we can visualize an image, I see goodness, I feel goodness. We all we try to say the kindest things after we've lost somebody. But the adjectives that were used, the things that were said by multiple people, I don't doubt for a minute she shined all the time. She will be missed, but never forgotten. Her smile brightened up the darkest rooms. Her beauty was not only outward, but inward. So you ask, how did this happen? Well, I'm going to tell you what I know from Captain Anaya, also Detective Mark Fallis, who is currently still working on it. Between information from her sister Angela on the news, I'm going to do my best. There is not a lot of coverage on this on social media, so I hope that by me doing this that I can hopefully get it out there somewhere to get it to the next step. Somebody help, okay? We're now in December 2020. So now I bring us up to the year 2020. Shaquilla is 21 and Za'vion is 5. At this time, she has a boyfriend, and they've been together shortly after she had Za'vion. The child's father wasn't really around a lot, and the current boyfriend had been there a lot for Za'vion. I will say that the family members had mentioned that it's a little rocky with the boyfriend, a little bit of things going on, but I'll let you know from what I understand why. Now that Za'vion is 5, the child's father has decided he wanted to come back around and try to mend things with Shaquilla. Well, that was not a go. She's like, no, I am doing well. At this time, she was working, like I said, as a CNA. At one time, she was working up to 3 jobs. 3 jobs and going to school because she's going to school to be an RN. She had just gotten a new apartment. She was doing her thing. She was like, no, I am with somebody. I'm in school. I'm working. It's not going to work with us. And I guess from that point forward, it was, I guess, a discussion kind of in the air of how they were going to deal with Za'vion. That had to be done, right? So right now, things are really tough with him. And the boyfriend's like, hey, like, I got this. I've been had this. Like, for like almost 4 years, 5 years. So kind of one of those situations, not verbatim, but that was the feels that were going on around her. Okay, that was the energy. I'm sure that had to have been, ugh. She had got her a place in, like I said, in the Hot Springs where she grew up. She was very familiar. She got a place in Pebbles Creek Apartments. So, like I said, it hadn't been too long. Well, in December of 2020, the family suddenly had a death, an unexpected death in the family. At that time, a funeral had to be planned for, it ended up being December 29th. The funeral was to start at 12 noon. The day of the funeral, December 29th, they're sitting there and they notice that Shaquilla is missing. Like she's not there, like they don't see her. Or the son, like nobody went picked up son and said Shaquilla's gonna be late or anything. And that was very odd because this was someone that she definitely was gonna be there with the family. This is part of the family. The sisters, like, they tried to call. Angela said she was like, I'm going over there. I'm gonna check out, make sure everything's okay. We haven't heard anything. It's not like her. It's not like her to not just show up, especially to a funeral without letting us know. So Angela leaves, goes over to the apartment. Angela's her sister. Well, when she gets there, Shaquilla's car's there. So she goes up past the car and she notices that she sees Shaquilla's wallet in there, phone. And she's like, something's just not right. Why would her wallet be in here? When you just know, especially when it's your sister, someone you're close with, you just know something isn't right. So she goes up to the front door and she knocks on it. Nobody answers. So now she's like, mm-mm. So she calls 911 and she tells them that she needs a welfare check, that no one's answering at her sister's. She has a little boy who's 5 years old. She doesn't hear anything. Her car's there. Her wallet is there. She's missed a funeral. Just everything. Like explaining why I'm so concerned. This was about 1:30. Well, they come out there to do a welfare check. Well, when they get in there, first, they knock to nothing. Well, they get theirself in there. It didn't like anybody had broke in. No windows broke. Nothing like that. So at this time, Angie stays outside. And they go in. And that's when they discover Shaquilla and her son Za'vion. They both had been shot and killed. There was no hopes to call the ambulance to get help. So at that time, they knew, of course, what had happened. But things cannot be totally determined until there are autopsies. Of course, Angie is totally distraught. She has to let the family know. They're wrapping around the crime scene. It's absolutely a devastating, just awful situation. When they got the results back from the autopsy, of course, they knew that the cause of death was due to a shooting. But what was to their surprise was that it was determined that they had been there for 2 days. So, yes, the actual incident happened on the 27th. So they'd been there for 2 days. So that was an extra blow. While they were there, they were able to get fingerprints. They were able to get DNA. And they were able to get some other evidence, but they did not want to. When I say they, I am referring to Detective Mark Fallis, who spoke on the news about this. There was just some things that they could not give out to the public, which is, hey, if it's going to help solve, keep it to yourself, please. One thing that he mentioned was that there was some leads that even took them out of state. Another comment that was said was that possibly by solving this case will help solve others. So is there a connection? A lot of people were speculating Allegedly, could it be the boyfriend because of the jealousy and the rage, and he had raised the child, and was the child going to be taken and from him? Was he not going to no longer be the father figure? These are all allegedly rumors going around. Or is it the dad because he's come back and he doesn't have his son and he doesn't have her, and is this a motive for him? As of now, I want to say that there is nothing that is pointing towards either one of them. Like they said, they had DNA, they have fingerprints. Both of them have been in the apartments. DNA and fingerprints are going to be there. So there's no other evidence right now that points to them. So I want to put that out there, that there is nothing right now pointing at them at all. I want to make sure of that. Anybody and everybody is also considered innocent until proven guilty. Now we are in 2023. There are some tips that are coming in here and there, and they're looking at every one of them. There has not been any justice at all. They are not really any closer than when they were looking. I think the last update was a year ago. They check out every lead. There are some things they haven't released. Other than that, that's about it. And we got to do better. Somebody knows something. They grew up there. Another thing is, she hadn't lived there that long. It's right after Christmas. No signs of breaking and entering. I feel like, did they know her? The fact that they would take a 5-year-old's life. So these are just things that have been discussed and allegedly could possibly be. But right now, we are depending on somebody coming forward with some type of information. I'm going to put the information in my description, but I want to tell you that Detective Mark Fallis has put out his phone number, 501-321-6789, extension 6720. If you have any information or any questions, you can contact him concerning the case. With that being said, at the end of each search, I like to do something for our victims. This is a ribbon of prayer and awareness for Shaquilla Za'vion, the age of 21 and 5 years old, gone too soon, 12/27/2020. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will do what I can to answer them. I appreciate everybody. Please don't forget to share this out. We upload every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe and notification. I will see you on the next search. Good night, everybody.